Hi guys, I'm Ross and I'm going to be doing some order flow execution strategy. So as you've seen before, how traders execute certain strategies in the market. Today we're going to be looking at the Bund BTP correlation, which is something that's been massively in play this week. There's been a lot of opportunities for you to be able to work your orders off the flows from the BTPs within the Bund. Just for a bit of background, in case you were unaware, last month or 2 months ago now, there was a general election in Italy and there were three main parties that were in the running: Five Star Movement, La Liga and the Centre-Left Alliance. And basically, Five Star Movement, led by Salvini, won the pluralist of seats, and La Liga, led by Salvini, won the pluralist of seats, and the Five Star Movement won the majority of votes, and the Centre-Left Alliance, led by Renzi, came third. So that left us with a hung parliament, which meant that there was some form of coalition that needed to be formed. So fast forward to this week, Five Star Movement and La Liga have presented Giuseppe Conte, who is a little known politician and academic, who is being pushed forward as the Prime Minister now. So we'll go into looking at this trade. I'm just going to skip through to where we need to be. So what we were looking at here is we've got the Bund here and the BTP here in the corner. And what's been happening at the moment is we've been seeing the Bund BTP spread blow out. The majority of this week, it's up almost 200 basis points. So what we're looking at is the way that this trader, as you can see here, he's already long in the Bund. He's got 50 lots on, which is not, for him, it's not a huge amount of size, but he's just feeling the market out. And you can see in the BTP in the corner here, it's close to breaking the low. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to speed it up to double time because it's quite a long video. Yeah, so as we can see, this trader's got his size on here at the high, looking for this break in the BTP down here in the bottom. So what he's going to be doing is he's going to be working his orders off the flow from the BTP. So when he sees a big move down in the BTP, he's going to be looking to get size into the Bund, which he then can be confident with because he knows how the correlation has been trading throughout the week. And one thing that we've definitely noticed is that the correlation has been getting weaker throughout the week. At the start of the week, we're talking about a correlation that was, it's an inversely correlated market, so we're talking minus 0.75 roughly as the correlation between the two markets. So as you can see here, he's working his orders. He's still unsure that the BTP is going to break at the moment, so I think this is pre the actual break happening. But as you can see, he's getting his orders into the market. Now what he'll be doing is he'll be putting bids in, hoping to get flicked into the market. But at the same time, he's always ready to be hitting market when he sees the flows coming into the market. So if we're still watching the BTP here, in a minute, hopefully, it's going to start breaking down. And that's when this trader manages to get his size in quickly. And the thing with knowing the correlation in this way is that you can quite safely get your size on without having not too many worries about it going offside at a fast speed. And normally in this correlation, you've got a lot of time. The Bund normally gives you a bit of time to get out when the BTP bounces. One thing we have noticed is that the risk on moves, i.e. when the BTP is going lower and the Bund is going higher, it's a lot more of a cleaner move than you see when it's a risk off flow and you see the Bund coming off and the BTP going up. So it's definitely an easier trade to look at it from the risk on percentage. And this is, as you can see, the BTP is just breaking here, and he's now going to start scaling in. The way he trades, he always has offers in front of the market to make sure he's locking down some of the profits he's taking on the trade. This is actually just the first part of the trade, and in a second you're going to see, now we see the BTP about to break, and you'll watch this trader. You might not see it on the market because he might be hitting market there. He's hit another 10 into there, and he's going to start lifting prices as he sees the BTP going. Now, he's confident that this is going to go because of his experience in the markets and knowing from the Eurozone crisis and the way the markets reacted during the general election. And after that, he's got the confidence that the size can be put in, and the BTP, as long as it's staying low and not bouncing too aggressive, there we go, another push down in the BTP, you can be fairly confident. There he's getting more size in, now he's really starting to ramp up his size and get a good core position in that he can now work around. So now we see the BTP continues its move down, and you're just going to see the trader just managing his position. He's going to start hitting more bids, hitting market when he feels like it. In a second he'll start placing bids down, because it will flick back a few ticks every now and again, and that's your opportunity to possibly get more into the market, especially if the BTP isn't bouncing very high. Normally when the BTP bounces, as you can see here, the Bund hasn't actually come off at all, so it's still giving you a chance to get your size off, or if you think there's going to be another leg in the BTP, it gives you another chance to get some more size in. So we'll just watch this as he continues to play out the trade. Just move this down. So as you see, he's still got a fairly big position on, and you can see the BTP is still crashing through its lows. So whilst the BTP is sitting down here, he's going to keep as much size as he can hold on until he sees some sort of reversal in the markets. So this, by the way, was Monday morning when we first came in after having a few bits of news about the Italian government. There you go, he's seen a big break in the BTP and he loaded up his size, went well over 120 lots. He's very quickly to scale out because he wants to, lock in the profits of the first few ticks and hopefully run half or more than half of his size up through another high. So you see again the BTP starts going, and you can see bids going into the Bund. You see a 300 lot get lifted there. He reloads, but you're not too worried because the BTP is still at its lows. So that's why, because he knows the BTP is still at its lows, he's still bidding prices up near the highs. He's effectively, in this kind of trade, you can very safely buy the high of the market and feel quite comfortable with the size, even though you're so close to the high of the market. And there is always the risk that it will come back quickly, but as I said before, whilst the BTP is not bouncing, you feel fairly confident. And when it does bounce, it normally gives you a chance to get out of the market. So I think this was the first of two legs in this trade, and this happened at around 8:30 in the morning, I think. So you can see he's started scaling out a little bit because the bids have started dying down. There's not as much size going through the bid on the market, so you can see now there's a bit of a reloader here, but as the market comes off, he's still fairly confident, which is why he's still got a fairly big position on that the BTP is still at its lows and it hasn't bounced at all. And so whilst he's looking at this, he'll know that the BTP has had such a strong reaction to these markets. There you go again, you get a blip down in the BTP and a blip up in the Bund, and as he sees this, he knows that there could be continuation, so he starts putting bids in the offers, putting bids on the market and trying to increase his size. There he goes, another 20 lots into it. And as this continues to break down, he's going to continue to work his position in and try and get as much size onto the Bund as possible, whilst he knows that the BTP is still going through its lows. As we see here, he's still got a fairly large position on, and as the market starts to come off, he's not panicking because the BTP is rooted to its low. So this is something that was picked up in the Eurozone crisis 2-3 years ago, and it's something this trader's watched for a long time, and he knows how the markets trade in correlation. When there's a theme in the markets, there's a lot of correlation between certain products, and at the moment with the Italian election going on, you know that the BTP and the Bund are the two most correlated and risk risk correlated products to the theme. So any comments, any movement in the government, or any new comments on movement from the government is going to give us a good indication that where the Bund and the BTP go. So as you can see here, the BTP's actually bounced, and the Bund, whilst it's correlated, it's not tick for tick. It's not a 1-for-1 correlation. So you're not going to see a bounce here is not going to equal 1-for-1 tick and a bounce back down in the Bund. So see here, he's still got a reasonable amount of size on. The BTP's bounce, so I imagine, as we'll see in a second, as this starts coming off, he'll scale out reasonably quickly. Whilst he knows it's bounced, he's got the chance to get positions out. He's already halved his position there. And what's been good about the way the markets are traded this week is that it's always given you a chance to get out of the market when the BTP bounces. So when you're watching the markets, you feel a lot safer getting size on at the right times. So I think this is just coming to the end of this first leg, and I think there's one more leg after this, so I might try and speed up. Just put it to 4 times normal speed now, just so we can fast forward to the next leg, and then I'll slow it down again. See, as we see here, the BTP has finally had a large bounce, but the Bund's still only 6 ticks off its high. So he's had lots of time to get all of his size out and retain some of his profits. The way these trades work, it's good to be very flexible with your size and get in and out of the market as quickly as possible. So you've got to be flexible with both the size of your trades and getting in and out of the market. As you can see here, now that the BTP's had a large bounce, he's cut his position to a negligible position for him that's not really going to cost him very much. It's just going to allow him to keep in the trade just in case there's a second leg. So here we see he starts covering more. Still, now he's cut his position to a very, very tiny size. He's going to try and keep his keep a trade in there just in case there is another move, which is always a possibility. There's always going to be bounces every move. There he is, he's out of the trade, and he's been rewarded handsomely. And the way you trade these kind of correlations, you have to be aware of when the correlation is working and when it's not. So at the start of the week, we were heavily correlated, and it meant that whilst the correlation's there, you really have to try and maximize each trade that you take. So as we can see here, he's managed to get in with a lot of size. He's been safe with it because the BTP has been coming off at a substantial rate. And at the same time, he knows when it bounces, there's always going to be a chance for you to get out. So he's just going to try and hold a larger position for a larger amount of time and try and run that and see how that works. So we're going to move on to another trade, which was over a comment actually, and it was when they announced that Savona was going to be the finance minister. So if you don't know, Savano's a Euro-skeptic, so the markets view this as a bad thing, and it possibly means that there might be a referendum to get out of the euro. It's not necessary. It's not a definitive thing, but there is a high probability that he might push for some sort of referendum towards leaving the euro area. So I'm just going to skip to this next trade. It's just loading up, and then we'll be able to see. So basically what happened with this trade is we heard the comment on the squawk box that Savona was a potential nominee for the finance minister position in Italy. Just skip forward to where the trade actually happens. Right, so here we can see now he's made his, after Monday, everyone's realised that the correlation between the BTP and the Bund is very strong at the moment. So as you can see here, he's enlarged his BTP ladder to get a better view of the flows and what's going on within the markets. So in a second, he's very quick to hit the market as the comment comes out. So this time he's actually trading both markets, and you'll see there he's hit the BTP. So now this one was a bit of a slow burner. So we've hit the BTP and we're kind of waiting for the market to gauge its reaction to the comment. So we're fairly certain that it's going to be a bad move for the market. As I said before, Savona's a bit of a Euro-skeptic. So here we can see he's got in with some size. He's not really sure the market's got the information yet. He's trying to hold it, but he is ready to scale out if there is potential that this is not as big as we expect. There is always potential that the market doesn't react in the way you expect. So it's good to be flexible and be able to get in and out of the position quickly if things don't go. But here we see, as the BTP started coming off, he's immediately hit the Bund with a large amount of size. Because as I said before, once he knows the BTP is going to start going, he knows that he's going to be fairly safe. So now his size has gone up to 126 lots. And this is where you see the flows start going into the BTP. It starts blipping back up, but at the same time, the Bund still has given him a chance to be able to get out of some position. So you'll see in a second here, he's going to cut. There, he cuts 50 lots out of his position. This is more of a precautionary measure, just in case there is a drastic bounce in the BTP and we have a quick move down. Normally he'd be able to get out a lot of size, but obviously you don't want to be holding close to full size on a move down, because any sort of 6-7 tick move down is going to be quite costly for you. So as we can see here, the BTP has finally started going. He's got offers in there to try and get in more, but his main focus is on the Bund, because that's where it's a market that he knows well. And as you can see, he's got 120 lots in there. He scales out quickly, but he's already taken a good 5-6 tick winner with what for him is a very large amount of size. So as you can see there, he's increasing his size as the BTP continues. He's now off the page in the BTP short and has got a lot of size in the long Bund. Obviously, it's not reflective of his actual average position, because he's been massaging it and getting in and out of lots. So his average position is probably slightly lower, but whilst he's trading this, he's banking some profits as it goes up. So you'll see here, as it starts to slow down, you know, there's only a one lot up into the 97s. So as he sees that, he starts to cut his position size a little more. There you see, it seems like there's a little bit of exhaustion in this trade now. So he'll just start to take his position down a little bit to try and minimize his risk. Because often when you get these comments, once the trade's over, there's often quite an aggressive blip down once it's over. Whereas before, when we saw the BTP flows, when the comments are like this, once the trade's over, there's often quite an aggressive 5-6 tick move back to sort of flush out the rest of the longs. So here it's all gone a bit quiet, and then you've got a blip down in the BTP and a blip up in the Bund. He's cut some of his position off because he's obviously trying to take his profits on the first few ticks, and he's going to try and run this and leave as much size as he feels comfortable on. He's still running a 70 lot there, and just keeping an eye on the BTP. See here, he's cut his BTP size quite a lot. He's just trying to run that, but now his main focus, see, as that blipped down, he's hit another 40 lots into the Bund. He's very quick to see, as soon as there's any, the BTP will start breaking down, and he's going to continue to increase his size. So you see, as it again blips down, he hits another 30 lots into the market. It's always good to have orders in the market to scale out of your position, because you don't know exactly where the market's going to go. So you need to be flexible in the way that you get out and get into the market. So here it started to come off a bit, and he's very quick to almost half his size. And as I said, the comment, you feel like the trade is over, and the market flushes down very quickly to get rid of the last longs. And it's a combination of clearing the longs and the longs getting out of their positions. So it's like a ladder effect almost. As one person starts getting out, everyone starts getting out, and you get a quick flush from everyone trying to reverse their positions. Not reverse their positions, but just exit their positions. So now he's cut down to 18 lots and his BTP is just down to 1 lot, and he's just going to try and hold this and just see if there's any other second leg to come. And I think that is about it for the trade. He'll probably be winding down his position. As you can see there, he's just going to start putting his offers in and trying to finish the trade off. Now the position is so small comparative to his normal trade, he's actually increased his size on the BTP. Now for me, I think this is because he's seen the sort of place that it started, and he might be trying to take just a little technical trade from where the comment started. You often get the sellers who stepped in when the comment came out, you often get them stepping back in when it gets a retracement. So here, he's increased his size again on the BTP, just looking for another flush down. And as that comes off, he knows that he should get a little bounce back in the Bund as well. So he increased his size by 20 lots and is just going to play this little bounce back up. But as you can see, this trade doesn't bear as much weight as it did at the start of the comment. So obviously with these kind of trades you're going to be a little bit less certain about it, so you're just going to do it with a little bit more size. As you can see, he's cut his size down again because it's not officially the trade for the comment is really over, and I think, you know, the Bund's been pretty bullish all week, so for him he might just be trying to run this position up as a personal trade rather than as a comment. But for the most part, the majority of the trade is over the comment. As you see the comment come out, you need to be very quick to get into one market, and as he did, he got into the BTP very quickly and then used that as a barometer as to how quickly and how far the Bund would go. So as you can see now, the BTP's had its second leg. It's not as aggressive and it's not necessarily a flow type trade. So whilst he's seeing this, he's not as confident to be putting on the size in the Bund at the moment. As you can see, he's very aware that the market's starting to come off now, so he's just going to start placing offers around and trying to scale out of his position. As you can see, the BTP's also cut his size down to 4 lots there. He's going to keep just clipping away as it comes off and just trying to take his profit slowly. So here I think he's going to get filled and be out of the BTP. But as he sees the BTP really starting to have another leg, he's going to start increasing his size in the Bund, just in case there's another strong leg up in the Bund from the BTP coming off again. But as you can see, the BTP trade is kind of exhausted, so he's cut his size there. And in the Bund, he's just started to cut his size now, not by a lot, but he will start to scale out. As it comes off, he'll just start scaling out of the position slowly. Took another 6 lots out there. And I think that's the majority of the trade, to be honest. As I said before, the important thing with noticing these correlations is knowing when they're in play and when they're not. So I've noticed for today, for instance, it being Friday, coming to the end of the week, we've had quite a strong correlation all week. But as the theme begins to play on the markets, the correlation becomes not as strong. As more people turn on to the fact that they're highly correlated, and as the comments keep coming thick and fast, eventually the market becomes a little bit more desensitized until there's, you know, a really substantial comment that is more of a certainty. Because at the moment this comment was over the potential of a nominee for the finance minister of Italy. So now you can see he's cut his position there and he's out of the BTP, and he'll just finally start to close his position. He might try and average it out to try and take a slightly better price, but to be honest, this is really negligible for the original trade that we talked about. So yeah, it's good. It's important to remember when the theme is in play and when it's not. And whilst the correlation's not as strong today, I imagine as we get more comments during the week and next week, we'll see some more moves that are highly correlated. So it's important to keep an eye out and know what's moving the markets at the moment. I think that's it from me. Thanks very much.